Welcome back. God bless you and God bless America. I am your host, Steve, and this is the Liberal Letdown. Today, we have some kind of funny topics, a couple serious topics, and then, you know what? I think it's a pretty funny one. We talk about the Catholic Church. Bibi Netanyahu shows how huge his penis is. Everybody is equal, according to the DNC. Republicans in office suck, and David Hogg is a dumbass. That's briefly what we're going to talk about today. But we're going to lead off with David Hogg's dumbass. He really likes just making stuff up. He's very, very good at that. Very good. And he loves saying that guns in schools are bad, which in truth, I'm not exactly huge on it personally, but that's for another time. He goes ahead and he says he's claiming that Betsy DeVos, the education secretary for the country, is having her strings pulled by the NRA to be able to put funding towards arming teachers. And he says something dumb. It's his tweet. So we can't afford textbooks for our children, regularly fund inner city schools, pay our teachers a livable salary, have free public college. Yet we can arm teachers. Sounds like the NRA is pulling strings to increase gun sales in a record low year. So, not only are teachers paid a livable wage, that's just abundantly untrue. Inner city schools have more funding now than they've ever had. Textbooks for kids, that's up to the school. That's up to the school in itself. And free public college is retarded. But, person, Stephen Gutowski, okay? He is a well-known, he's a personality, he's a conservative. He is very, very up-to-date when it comes down to firearms and legalities, and he's on Twitter, and he goes ahead and he gets Hogg. He says there have been about 1 million more FBI background checks, the most reliable indicator of gun sales, this year than last year, and this year is on pace to be the second best in history of NICS. So NICS is the background check system that you go through. The FBI looks at you and your person and all that to determine whether you're allowed to buy this gun. So, and he continues. He says, no, gun sales are not experiencing a record low year. He continues. Here's the FBI report that shows the number of checks every month since NICS began. For a number of reasons, NICS check numbers are not a one-to-one representation of gun sales, but nearly every sale of a new gun and many used sales require a NICS check. So, yeah, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. In order to legally purchase a firearm from a store, you got to go through a NICS check. You have to. They can face federal crimes if they don't, and they can go to jail if they don't. Yeah, so that's a pretty big deal. He I just read something like this, just kind of throw it in his face, like, no. He just dragged his bag right across his face, called him out on it, dogged him, and then threw info right in his face. It was just great. I hate that kid so much. He's such a piece of garbage. He really, really is just a dick. But you know who else are dicks? The Republican Party is just... So Rand Paul called everybody out. This was a few days ago. Matt Walsh wrote this piece, as he did for the Catholic Church one. I love Matt Walsh. I think Matt Walsh is a fantastic person, and I think that if every Christian was like him, then this world would be infinitely different. I think that if everybody spoke with the integrity and honesty that he did, things would be much simpler. Very cut and dry. So, he writes, Rand Paul blasted, the leadership of the Republican Party, as he should, because instead of overturning, they blocked an amendment to defund Planned Parenthood. And for the life of me, I don't know why. I cannot understand why. Why would you block that? Why would you not want that? And the only thing I can think of is because they're weak. They are spineless. And they are undeserving of our trust. I like Rand Paul. I always have. I think he's a good representative of our country. I think he's a fantastic representative of the Republican Party for all the dicks that we have in it, personally. But there's absolutely no reason why this should have failed. I mean, just absolutely not. We have control of the government. These disgusting people kill 300,000 babies every year. 300,000. Now, I don't have the actual statistic, but I did read, and I have talked about it previously, not on this show, but on the one previous. 50% of black babies are aborted. 50% are aborted. How is that not in that? How does that not blow anybody else's mind? 300,000 babies a year are killed, murdered, literally torn to bits. And 50% of black babies are aborted. And nobody bats an eye. Nobody says anything. Nobody's appalled. Nobody's upset. Because, women's rights. But it has nothing to do with a woman's body. And I don't understand it. To this day, I still don't understand why people don't want to defund something that is literal genocide. 300,000 people a year are murdered. How? Why? Why is this okay? Because you want to? You ask Chelsea Clinton, she thinks that it's helping out the economy. No, retard, it's not. It's not helping out at all. Because the vast majority of them don't pay for it. It's paid for by us, the taxpayers. And we had a chance to shut it down and bring back morality to people. And it would make people think twice about their actions. If you take this away, this is not a right. Not at all. It is not your body. It is not your right to take that child's life. It is not. You are an awful person. There's a guy I work with, and his wife does this. She is a part of all of it, and I don't talk about it with him because I like the guy. He's a good dude. But it's really, really disgusting to think that, man, how are you okay with that? He talks about his kids all the time. I mean, I've seen him with his twins. He loves them. Talks about them all the time. I don't understand how you could condone something like that. Even if you take the 1% of that 300,000. Less than 1%. The incest, rape. I mean, in some states you're allowing it up to 9 months? What? No, absolutely not. I think that's abundantly unnecessary and unacceptable. Without a doubt, there's no need for up to 9 months. To continue on, the people are stupid. The DNC goes gender neutral, demands equal number of men and women on committees. Why? If you have to force equality, it's not equality. It's a handout. It's not even charity. It's interference. It lessens those who are appointed. And people who deserve to be on, who don't get to be on, are slighted because of equality. Equality is something that should be non-existent. No. I've said this. I've said this on Twitter. I believe I've said this on this show. In my opinion, my personal life experiences so far in my short life, a man cannot do things that a woman can do, and a woman cannot do things that a man can do. To force that into equality is only going to disrupt the status quo. It's only gonna shake the foundation. In my opinion, a woman working as a secretary is not a demeaning job. Women are better at typing, and they're better at what some people would say multitasking, which is fake. It's just the ability to plan a little bit better. That's it. Women, in my opinion, are better in the medical field. I would much rather be tended to by a woman as a nurse or a doctor than a man. I don't know why, but it's just comforting for me. For me, personal choice. However, the secretary thing has actually been proven. Now, when you do what I do, you work in manufacturing for a line of work, women do not survive that job well. And when you force them into that role, all you do is make more work for the men who have to do what they cannot. And I believe the same would go for men as a secretary position. A woman who did something similar would be assisting or would end up eventually owning that position anyway. But you're not. Biologically, you are not equal. So, does that contribute to committees? No. But it contributes to the overall underlying fact or the thought process of equal. I'm sure there are people who deserve to be on these committees, and they get in there and they fight their way in and they get in, they're fine. And then there's people who don't, who just, I have a vagina, I'm here. Or even the guys, got a penis, I'm getting in. I don't feel that it's appropriate whatsoever to have to be equal, unless it's something specific that you want effective contribution from men and women about sexes, about issues revolving or dealing with their own issues. Yeah, different walks of life. I mean, different things that contribute to men and women. I don't feel that that deeming everything needs to be equal is effective. I think people would understand that. People would agree with that. I think it's unnecessary. It's like a fake level of wokeness. It's a we're going to do this because they're trying to bring more voters in. So when you deem this necessary, all you're doing is like, oh man, wow, we're gonna get a lot of women voters now. And then they don't account for the voters, the male voters that they're losing because they're like, well, this is kind of stupid. We knew a whole lot more about manufacturing than they did. Why are we getting kicked out? And they're being brought in and they don't know anything about this. Yeah, I disagree. I think there's nothing, zero facts behind it whatsoever. But it does not make sense to me to push that so aggressively. Oh, here we go. Let's get to Bibi. Netanyahu, no urgency for Trump Mideast peace plan. This guy has got the hog the size of a damn tree trunk. He is, I mean, to say, if you follow things over in the Middle East, it's not great, right? Pretty volatile, pretty explosive, literally. Pretty shaky. And Israel is always fighting off somebody. They're dealing with Palestinians, or the would-be people who want a country. You're dealing with threats from Iran, Syria. I mean, who else? All of them on a day-to-day basis. And Bibi just says, no big deal. I mean, good God, the confidence this man must have in his people is insane. I don't see the urgency in this matter. Bibi was questioned about the Palestinians' refusal to engage with the Trump administration on the peace issue, and Bibi said, "The Americans are thinking about it. They're not blind, but I don't know. When they propose it, we'll see." So Palestine won't even come to the table, mainly because they're not a real country. But they won't even come to the table and talk. And yet, these are the people that are saying that Israel is just shooting their kids, just shooting people. You don't even want to talk about peace. Your leaders are literal terrorists. And you're sending rockets over into Israeli schools and Israeli cities. And you don't want peace. And then you got the Prime Minister of Israel just saying, no big deal. We got this. I just think this man is great. For all his flaws, I like Bibi a lot. Nobody's perfect, but God, the confidence this man must have in his people is incredible. I don't know. I don't care for the Palestinian tribe or whatever they call themselves, because that's definitely not a country. But they'll keep attacking, and Bibi will just say, no big deal. On to the main topic, my main topic, because this one strikes me the deepest, being these Pope Francis allegations. And now, mind you, I don't care for Pope Francis. I don't care for Pope Francis at all. I think I don't even think his actions. They don't shock me as they don't color. They don't look Christian at all. I'm shocked with the things he says and how he acts. Saying, people who choose to be gay are okay to be that. I just, as a Christian, as a hardline Christian, that's not something you say. And we should apologize to them. That's just absolutely false. I mean, when you say stuff like that, and then you come into these allegations that he covered up for homosexual actions against children, it just kind of makes sense. And he called for the apologizing to homosexuals months ago. It almost seems like he set the table. So there was a former high-ranking official in the Catholic Church, Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano. Okay. He claims that Pope Francis personally helped cover up abuses of sexual predator Cardinal McCarrick. Now, these 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 claims are conversations he's had with the Pope, with Cardinal McCarrick about these things, and he did so. He spilled all this. He talked about it because he's an old man. He's getting ready to die. He wanted to clear his conscience with God, which, I guess it's what your final what's it called, confession. And I don't understand how this man is going to claim that the Pope, the figurehead of the Catholic Church, knew about this man's sexual exploits with children and didn't take action. I guess it's just fitting. You see all this stuff in Pittsburgh, and then, Matt Walsh, he talked about it last week, a couple weeks ago, and then he said, well, the Catholic Church isn't the only one, and it's not. Public school is even worse than the Catholic Church by times 100. But the public school isn't preaching morality. And as a Christian, I'm not Catholic, but as a Christian, I feel that people who preach such a high level of morality and right versus wrong, how are you guiding people on the right path when you okay these actions? What are you saying to children who go to church? Or what are you saying to their parents when they read that, Cardinal McCarrick, he was able to just have his way with kids? And he was just able to do what he wanted. The Pope knew, and he said, whatever. And the Pope was asked about it. He was asked this question. He was asked how he felt on this. And he didn't respond. He said he is not going to say a word about this. He said, draw your own conclusions and make your own judgment. The Pope said, make your own judgments about his inability to act and take action against a child molester. I agree with Walsh. I agree if these allegations are true. He's unfit and he's got to go. He's got to resign. You cannot stay the leader of such what is supposed to be and used to be a prestigious, an amazing faith. And believe and fight for these people the way he has, seemingly. All you do is tell your followers that it's okay to rape kids because they're going to be defended, because the Pope just offended them. The Pope stuck up for these people. The Pope protected these people. That's what you're telling these people. That's what you're telling kids. That's what you're telling adults. That's what you're telling the LGBTQI, whatever disgusting community it is, that it's okay. Because it's okay to be the way you are. You can even be Catholic now. Because the Pope's defending us. It's only a matter of time. This man should step down immediately, and he should face trial. I think he should face trial. If he knew about this and okayed this, he should absolutely be paternoed, and he should absolutely be put on trial for this. If he knew about this, the way it was done, all of this in detail, the way it's been described, and did nothing, stood by, didn't do a thing about any of this, I absolutely feel that he should stay in trial. And I think the majority of people who listen would agree, because you're not disgusting human beings. I guess I don't understand how you could be so complacent in a literal predator's actions, holding the title you do in this world, and not be held accountable for your actions. You are disgusting. You chose not to act, and you knew. And I think you should be held accountable. Well, that's it today. Thank you for listening. God bless all of you. God bless America.